Hello everyone. Tonight, we begin with a question about how ancient stones on a windswept plain, Stonehenge, could hold secrets of the stars and the souls who raised them. Could you uncover their purpose? You're standing on Salisbury Plain, the chalky earth cool beneath your bare feet, the vast grassland stretching around you like a whispered dream, dotted with the towering stones of Stonehenge under a starlit sky. The air's crisp, heavy with dew, and the faint scent of wild thyme, and a gentle breeze rustles your woolen cloak, tugging you toward the circle of monoliths that loom like silent sentinels. Let's be honest, you might not stay awake for this ancient journey, but the builders of Stonehenge walked paths that would stir your spirit. Before you snuggle into your blanket, hit like on the video and comment where you're watching from and what time it is there. It's so fun to know who's joining us from around the world. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum. And let's ease into tonight's journey together. You're stepping closer, the grass tickling your ankles, and the stone's rough surfaces catch the starlight, their shadows stretching long across the plain. Stonehenge, built in stages from 3100 to 2000 BCE, stands as a testament to Neolithic ingenuity. Its massive sarsens and bluestones hauled from miles away by people whose purpose remains a mystery. Mainstream history debates whether it was a calendar, a temple, or a healing site. Excavations in the 20th century uncovered tools and bones, but no definitive answer. You tilt your head back. Stars, like the Pleiades, glittering above their patterns, a map for those who align these stones with solstices. Imagine losing your way in this vastness. Humbling, isn't it? Here's the quirky tidbit. Some legends claim Stonehenge's builders heard the earth's rhythm through the stones, pressing their ears to the rock to sense its sacred hum. Picture Bran, a young apprentice with a flint knife tucked in his belt, trying it, now his ear, against a sarsen eyes half closed as he listens. The stone speaks, he murmurs, almost to himself. Historians still argue whether this was ritual or superstition. Could you really hear the earth's song? Yet they raised a monument that stood for millennia. So maybe Bran's stone whispered truths we can't fathom. You're circling the stones, their weight grounding you, each one a giant etched with lichen, like scars of time. The builders, if they stood here, were star watchers, their minds holding charts no antler pick could carve. Era, a healer with a bone necklace, kneels nearby. Her hum, a ritual chant as she traces a blue stone's edge. Her calm steadies Bran, who's scratching a star shape into the earth with his knife, marking the Pleiades' rise. The ancestors guide us, she says, her voice like the wind's sigh. You try listening to a stone ear pressed to its cool surface, but it's a riddle wrapped in silence. Picture holding Era's bone necklace. How does its smooth weight feel? Torin, an elder druid, leans on his oak staff, watching Bran with a weathered smile. The earth's a teacher, lad, but a quiet one, he says, his tone half jest. The plain stillness wraps you the crew. Know the villagers murmuring like a sacred rite, their woolen tunics rustling. Building Stonehenge wasn't just labor. It was trust in stars, earth, and spirits. You think of your own paths, maybe a winding trail home led by memory. The villagers point at a low star, maybe Sirius marking a solstice path. Bran hesitates, then points too, earning Era's nod. Good, she says, her necklace glinting. You're starting to feel their world, not just stones, but a quest chasing a purpose, lost to time. The stars shine brighter, the plains hum deeper, and you settle into the grass, the earth rocking like a cradle ready to unearth Stonehenge's secrets, one whisper at a time. You're still standing on Salisbury Plain, The chalky earth, cool beneath your bare feet, its gritty texture, a quiet reminder of the ancient land that cradles Stonehenge's towering stones. The dawn's first light creeps over the horizon, painting the grasslands in soft gold, while a gentle mist clings to the hollows, veiling the distant hills in a ghostly shroud. The air's crisp, scented with dew and wild thyme, and a faint breeze rustles your woolen cloak, carrying the earthy whisper of the plain itself. You're not just walking, you're feeling the land's ancient pulse, the same rhythm that might have guided Stonehenge's builders as they shaped this sacred circle. Can you sense the heartbeat of this timeless earth? Mainstream history confirms that Stonehenge's builders, Neolithic tribes from 3100 to 2000 BCE, chose Salisbury Plain for its open expanse and chalk bedrock ideal for raising their monoliths, as evidenced by early ditches dated through radiocarbon analysis. You're picturing Era now, the healer, from before her bone necklace swaying as she kneels, pressing her palm to the ground, her eyes half closed as she feels the soil's energy. Their maps weren't carved, they were felt a living bond with the land's contours, its winds, its spirit. You try it, kneel beside her. Let the chalky earth press into your hands. Every ridge tells a story. Shallow dips might mark ancient paths. Chalky scars could trace where stones were dragged. It's as if the plain's murmuring its past, but only to those who kneel to listen. Here's the quirky tidbit. Some tales claim Stonehenge's builders could smell the earth's sacred spots, detecting a faint mineral tang that marked a holy site. Bran's trying it now, his flint knife tucked in his belt, sniffing the air with a furrowed brow, muttering, "It's sharp, like new rain." Historians still argue whether this was instinct or myth. Could you really smell a sacred circle? Yet they chose this exact spot, so maybe Bran's nose caught a whiff of the divine. You're swaying with the breeze, the plain's hum blending with Era's ritual chant, her bone necklace clinking softly as she rises. The land chooses, she tells Bran, her voice a steady whisper, and we obey. You recall Thalia's wave reading on the Atlantean ship, but this feels earthier, rooted in the soil's embrace. Stonehenge's builders, if real, knew their winds, named like kin, each with a temper. A steady west breeze brought spring. A sharp north gust warned of winter's bite. You sniff the air, hoping for that mineral tang, but it's just dew and time. Picture pressing your hand deeper into the chalk. How does its cool grit feel? Torin, the druid, watches you, his oak staff tapping the ground. The earth tests the patient. He says, half joking, but you feel the depth of his words. The villagers' murmurs weave with the wind, Bran scratching a sun shape into the soil with his knife, marking a solstice path. Era points to a faint ridge, a scar from ancient feet, and says, "That's their trail." You try sensing it, but it's like reading a scroll in the fog. They watch for earth signs too. Burrow's flint flakes a raven's flight. Spot a white stone. A sacred place lies near, perhaps a day's walk. You're starting to see the plain, as they did, not barren, but alive, every ridge a clue. Nikos' ink-smudged focus comes to mind, but Bran's quiet reverence feels different, grounded, as if he's etching Stonehenge's first chapter. Suddenly, a gust sweeps the plain, stirring the mist, and a raven caws overhead, its wings black against the dawn. The villagers stir, Era's chant rising, and Bran gasps, nearly dropping his knife. A sign, he says, and Torin nods, his staff steady. The land speaks, he says, but don't rush to answer. You chuckle, imagining a poet's jest. Ignore the earth's song, and you'll wander with the wolves. The plain stretches its secrets, unfolding, and you settle into the grass, trusting these ancient builders. Era's wisdom, Bran's zeal to guide you closer to Stonehenge's purpose. One earthy whisper at a time, you're still standing on Salisbury Plain, the chalky earth firm beneath your bare feet. Its cool grit a steady anchor as the dawn's golden light spills over the rolling grasslands, casting long shadows from Stonehenge's towering monoliths. The air's crisp, heavy with dew, and the faint tang of crushed thyme, a light mist swirling around the stones like a ghostly veil. You're gripping a heavy antler, picket's rough handle biting into your palms, and you feel the collective breath of the villagers around you, grunts of effort, murmured chants as you help raise a massive sarsen stone, its surface rough with lichen. You're about to marvel at the Neolithic ingenuity that shaped this circle, a monument born of sweat and sacred purpose. Can you feel the stone's ancient weight? Mainstream history confirms that Stonehenge's sarsen stones, weighing up to 30 tons, were hauled from 20 miles away around 2500 BCE using sledges and ropes, as evidenced by archaeological traces of ancient tracks. You're straining with the villagers now, their woolen tunics damp with sweat, as the stone inches upward, propped by wooden levers in a shallow pit. Era's nearby, her bone necklace swaying her chant to the earth, rising as she guides the stone's alignment with the solstice sunrise. It must stand true, she says, voice steady. You're awestruck, picturing the labor tribes uniting, dragging stones across the plain, their chants echoing the ones you hear now. You chuckle, thinking a bard might call it a giant's dance, but out here, it's a sacred feat. Here's the quirky tidbit. Some tales claim Stonehenge's builders marked stones with sun prints, chalk lines tracing the solstice sun to ensure perfect alignment. Bran's drawing one now, his flint knife scratching a faint arc on the sarsen, his brow furrowed as he mutters, "The sun must agree." Historians still argue whether this was ritual or engineering. Could chalk guide a monument's rise? But Stonehenge aligns with the solstice, so maybe Bran's lines held a spark of genius. You're heaving with the villagers, the stone's weight a shared burden, its rough surface scraping your hands as ropes creak like an ancient song. Raising one took days, hundreds of hands, antler picks, and oak levers, all moving as one. Torin, his oak staff planted in the earth, watches Bran with a nod. "The stone's a prayer," he says, "and we're its voice." You try digging with your pick, but the chalk resists, and Damon, a broad-shouldered villager with a scarred arm, laughs, "Dig like that, and we'll finish at the next moon." His jest stings, but you smile, picturing your own clumsy efforts at a task. The stone tilts, teetering on its edge, and the villagers hold their breath, you among them, heart racing as it sways. Era's chant rises, her bone necklace glinting, urging the earth to accept the stone. With a final heave, it slots into place, standing tall, a new sentinel in the circle. You're breathless, but the sight Stonehenge growing its stones like giants under dawn's glow fills you with awe. Picture running your hand along the sarsen's rough edge. How does its ancient grit feel? The mist thickens, veiling the plain, and you recall the plain's pulse you felt earlier, how it led here. Torin's chanting now, a hymn of a stone that caught the sun's first light, his voice weaving the villagers' pride. "Sing it," he urges, and you hum your voice a shy thread. Suddenly, a gust sweeps the plain, the mist swirling, and a raven's shadow crosses the stone, its caw echoing like a blessing. The villagers cheer, Bran's flint knife glinting as he adds a final chalk mark, his nerves eased by triumph. Era's chant softens her eyes on the horizon where the solstice sun will rise. You're caught in their joy. The stones rise, a testament to hands that shaped a mystery. The dawn brightens the circle's power, growing, and you settle into the grass, trusting these builders. Era's guidance, Bran's zeal to unveil Stonehenge's purpose, one stone at a time. You're still standing within Stonehenge's sacred circle on Salisbury Plain. The chalky earth firm beneath your bare feet, its cool grit dusted with morning dew. As the solstice sunrise bathes the standing stones in a golden glow. The air's crisp, scented with wild thyme, and the faint musk of damp wool, a light breeze stirring your cloak as it rustles the grasslands beyond. You're gazing upward, the sky, a pale canvas where the sun's first rays align perfectly with the heel stone, casting a long shadow across the circle's heart. You're about to trace the celestial dance that might have guided Stonehenge's builders, imagining its stones as a calendar, marking the sun's eternal rhythm. Can you feel the sun's ancient light? Mainstream history confirms that Stonehenge, built between 3100 and 2000 BCE, aligns with the solstices, with the heel stone marking the sunrise on the summer solstice, a fact supported by archaeological surveys of its astronomical precision. You're watching the sun now, its golden arc climbing exactly where the builders intended a beacon for rituals or harvests. Era, her bone necklace glinting, stands at the circle's center, her arms raised in a chant to welcome the sun, her voice a steady hum. You try picturing the sky as they did a vast scroll where the sun and stars wrote seasons: Sirius for summer, the Pleiades for planting. It's a cosmic hymn, but misread its verse, and the harvest fails. Here's the quirky tidbit. Some legends claim Stonehenge's builders used shadow sticks, simple poles planted to cast solstice shadows, confirming the stone's alignment. Bran's setting one now, his flint knife tucked in his belt, driving a wooden stake into the earth, muttering, "The sun must dance here." Historians still argue whether this was method or myth. Could a stick chart the heavens? Yet the solstice alignment holds true, so maybe Bran's stake caught a ray of truth. You're swaying with the breeze, the sun's warmth blending with Era's chant, her bone necklace a faint clink as she lowers her arms. The sun speaks, she tells Bran, who scratches a sun shape into the chalk with his knife marking its path. You recall the Atlantean starcraft, but this feels earthier, tied to the sun's cycle. Stonehenge's builders tracked celestial rhythms, the solstice sunrise for renewal, the winter sunset for rest. You try following the sun's shadow, but it's like reading a bard's verse in the wind. Picture tracing the shadow with your finger. How does its warmth feel? Torin, his oak staff tapping, watches Bran with a knowing nod. The sky's a guide, he says, and we're its keepers. The villagers' murmurs rise a soft hymn to the sun, their woolen tunics catching the dawn's glow as they gather at the circle's edge. Bran's shadow stick casts a perfect line, aligning with a sarsen's edge, and Era's chant swells her necklace, a beacon in the light. "Good," she says, her voice warm. You try it. Watch the sun's arc, guess its path. It's daunting, like weaving a thread through stone. The sun climbs higher, its rays kissing the stones, and you feel their trust in this celestial map, a bond forged in dawns like this. Suddenly a cloud drifts near, dimming the sun, and the villagers tense, Bran clutching his stake tighter. Era's chant sharpens her hand steady on a bluestone, guiding the right until the light returns. You're caught in the moment, sun fading, then flaring, the stones a silent witness to the sky's dance. Torin's chanting now, a hymn of a builder saved by the solstice dawn, his voice weaving hope. Sing it, he urges, and you hum your voice, a shy thread. You think back to the sarsen's rise, its weight, a partner to this light. The sun reemerges brighter, like a promise. You settle into the grass, the plains hum, wrapping you, trusting these builders. Bran's careful marks, Era's sacred song to unveil Stonehenge's purpose, one golden ray at a time. You're still within Stonehenge's sacred circle on Salisbury Plain. the chalky earth dusted with dew beneath your bare feet, its cool grit grounding you as the twilight sky deepens into a velvet indigo, streaked with the last embers of sunset. The air's cool, scented with wild thyme, and the faint smoke of a nearby bonfire, its glow flickering beyond the stones where villagers gather in woolen tunics. You hear a soft chant and turn to see Bran, the young apprentice standing beside Torin the druid, his oak staff casting a shadow as he gestures toward the heelstone teaching under the first stars. This is no ordinary evening. You're witnessing a Neolithic rite where a boy learns Stonehenge's purpose amidst the circle's ancient embrace. Can you feel the weight of Bran's initiation? Mainstream history suggests Stonehenge built between 3100 and 2000 BCE, served as a ceremonial site with evidence of feasts and rituals tied to solstices as uncovered by pig bones and pottery at nearby Durrington walls. You're watching Bran now, his flint knife tucked in his belt, his brow furrowed as he repeats Torin's chant, each verse naming a star. Sirius, the Pleiades that aligns with the stones. Torin's staff carved with lunar phases taps the earth, his voice gravelly but patient. The circle binds us to the sky, he says, and you must learn its song. You wince, recalling your own struggles with simpler lessons, perhaps tying a knot, not charting the heavens. This is no mere chant. It's a sacred duty passed through generations. Here's the quirky tidbit. Some tales claim Stonehenge's apprentices learned the stone's energy by sleeping within the circle, dreaming of the ancestors' whispers. Bran's muttering about it now, his fingers tracing a blue stone as he says, "I dreamt of a white stag last night." Historians still argue whether this was spiritual or symbolic. Could dreams guide a ritual? But the stone's alignment holds true. So maybe Bran's dream carried a thread of ancient wisdom. You're standing closer. The bonfire's crackle blending with Torin's chant, his oak staff a steady rhythm, as Era joins her bone necklace clinking softly, her hum weaving with his. She's watching Bran, her eyes warm but firm. Feel the stone's heartbeat, she tells him, her voice a gentle guide. Bran presses his palm to the blue stone, his knife glinting as he nods, hesitant but eager. You're impressed, but also awed. Your own memory falters at names, let alone celestial hymns. Torin points to a raven, perched on a sarsen, its caw sharp. It heralds the ancestors, he says. You squint, wondering if you'd mistake it for a trick of the wind. Picture touching the blue stone. How does its cool surface feel? The villagers' chants rise a low hum, echoing the stars, their shadows dancing in the firelight as they circle the stones. Bran stumbles on Sirius' path, and Era kneels beside him, her necklace brushing the earth. Again she says, her tone encouraging. He tries voice steadier, reciting a hymn that marks the winter solstice. You're caught in the moment, teacher and student stone and sky are right, as old as the plane itself. Suddenly, a gust sweeps the circle, the bonfire flaring, and the raven takes flight, its wings black against the twilight. The villagers pause, Bran's knife slipping as he gasps, but Torin's staff steadies him. The ancestors listen. Torin says, his voice firm, and Bran chants louder, emboldened. You think back to the Sarsen's rise, its weight a testament to the builder's unity now echoed in this rite. The stars shine brighter, the circle's power growing, and you feel their trust not just in Bran, but in Stonehenge itself, a monument to the sky's eternal dance. Era's chant softens her eyes on the horizon, where the solstice sun will rise. You settle into the grass. The plains hum, wrapping you like a cloak, trusting this initiation. Bran's trembling voice, Torin's ancient wisdom to unveil Stonehenge's purpose, one starlit lesson at a time. You're still within Stonehenge's sacred circle on Salisbury Plain. The chalky earth cool beneath your bare feet, its dusty grit mingling with the scent of crushed time as the solstice dawn paints the sky in hues of rose and gold. The standing stones loom around you, their shadows stretching long across the grass, while the air buzzes with the villagers' chants, their woolen tunics vibrant with ochre and indigo. Dyes their voices rising in a rhythmic hymn to the sun. You're not just watching, you're joining a solstice ceremony, feeling the spiritual pull of this ancient monument as it binds the tribes in a shared reverence for earth and sky. Can you feel the circle's sacred energy? Mainstream history confirms that Stonehenge, used from 3100 to 2000 BCE, hosted solstice ceremonies with archaeological evidence of feasts, pig bones, and pottery at nearby Durrington walls, suggesting gatherings of hundreds during these solar events. You're standing at the circle's heart now, the sun's first rays piercing through the heelstone, its golden light aligning with the central trilithon as the villagers raise their arms in unison, their chant swelling. Era leads the rite, her bone necklace glinting her voice, a steady hymn to the sun's rebirth, welcoming the longest day. You're caught in the moment, the stones seeming to hum with the villagers' song, a connection to ancestors who stood here millennia ago. Here's the quirky tidbit. Some tales claim Stonehenge's solstice rites included sun offerings, small flint carvings of animals left at the stones to ensure a bountiful harvest. Bran's placing one now, a tiny deer carved with his flint knife, setting it at a blue stone's base, whispering for the sun's favor. Historians still argue whether this was ritual or superstition. Could a flint charm the harvest? But the solstice alignment holds true, so perhaps Bran's deer carried a spark of ancient hope. You're swaying with the villagers, their chant blending with the breeze, the sun's warmth kissing your face as it climbs higher. Torin, his oak staff raised, stands beside Era, his voice weaving a hymn of the sun's journey, tying the rite to the stars you traced earlier. The circle unites us, he tells Bran, who clutches his knife, eyes wide with awe. You try joining the chant, but the words are a riddle, like a song half remembered. Picture holding Bran's flint deer. How does its sharp edge feel? The villagers' tunics catch the dawn's glow, their hands linked, forming a ring around the stones, their unity a living echo of the builder's bond. The ceremony deepens. Era sprinkling crushed herbs, thyme and yarrow from a wicker basket onto the earth, her bone necklace swaying as she kneels, offering thanks to the sun. Bran mimics her, scattering herbs with careful hands, his knife glinting as he learns the rite. You're struck by the ritual's power, a bridge to the sky. In the past, much like the stone raising you witnessed, the villagers' chant swells their voices, a chorus of hope, and you hum along, your voice a shy thread in their song. Suddenly, a shadow passes overhead, a hawk, its wings cutting the dawn sky, circling the heelstone before soaring west. The villagers gasp, Bran nearly dropping his flint, and Torin's staff points skyward. A blessing, he declares, his voice firm. The hawk's flight feels like a sign, the sun's light flaring brighter, bathing the circle in warmth. Era's chant softens her eyes on the trilithon, where the light strikes true, marking the solstice with precision. You're caught in their reverence. The stones a silent witness to this ancient dance of sun and spirit. You think back to the plain's pulse, its earthy whispers guiding the builders to this moment. The dawn's glow deepens the ceremony's power, wrapping you like a cloak, and you settle into the grass, trusting this rite, Bran's eager offerings, Era's sacred song to unveil Stonehenge's purpose, one golden ray at a time. You're still within Stonehenge's sacred circle on Salisbury Plain. the chalky earth cool beneath your bare feet, its dusty grit mingling with the scent of crushed time as the solstice dawn paints the sky in hues of rose and gold. The standing stones loom around you, their shadows stretching long across the grass, while the air buzzes with the villagers' chants, their woolen tunics vibrant with ochre and indigo dyes, their voices rising in a rhythmic hymn to the sun. You're not just watching, you're joining a solstice ceremony, feeling the spiritual pull of this ancient monument as it binds the tribes in a shared reverence for earth and sky. Can you feel the circle's sacred energy? Mainstream history confirms that Stonehenge, used from 3100 to 2000 BCE, hosted solstice ceremonies with archaeological evidence of feasts, pig bones, and pottery at nearby Durrington walls, suggesting gatherings of hundreds during these solar events. You're standing at the circle's heart now, the sun's first rays piercing through the heelstone, its golden light aligning with the central trilithon as the villagers raise their arms in unison, their chant swelling. Era leads the right, her bone necklace glinting her voice, a steady hymn to the sun's rebirth, welcoming the longest day. You're caught in the moment, the stones seeming to hum with the villagers' song, a connection to ancestors who stood here millennia ago. Here's the quirky tidbit. Some tales claim Stonehenge's solstice rites included sun offerings, small flint carvings of animals left at the stones to ensure a bountiful harvest. Bran's placing one now, a tiny deer carved with his flint knife, setting it at a bluestone's base, whispering for the sun's favor. Historians still argue whether this was ritual or superstition. Could a flint charm the harvest? But the solstice alignment holds true, so perhaps Bran's deer carried a spark of ancient hope. You're swaying with the villagers, their chant blending with the breeze, the sun's warmth kissing your face as it climbs higher. Torin, his oak staff raised, stands beside Era, his voice weaving a hymn of the sun's journey, tying the right to the stars you traced earlier. The circle unites us, he tells Bran, who clutches his knife, eyes wide with awe. You try joining the chant, but the words are a riddle, like a song half remembered. Picture holding Bran's flint deer. How does its sharp edge feel? The villagers' tunics catch the dawn's glow, their hands linked, forming a ring around the stones, their unity a living echo of the builder's bond. The ceremony deepens, Era sprinkling crushed herbs, thyme, and yarrow from a wicker basket onto the earth, her bone necklace swaying as she kneels, offering thanks to the sun. Bran mimics her scattering herbs with careful hands, his knife glinting as he learns the rite. You're struck by the ritual's power, a bridge to the sky, and the past much like the stone raising you witnessed. The villagers' chant swells their voices, a chorus of hope, and you hum along, your voice a shy thread in their song. Suddenly, a shadow passes overhead. A hawk, its wings cutting the dawn sky, circling the heelstone before soaring west. The villagers gasp, Bran nearly dropping his flint, and Torin's staff points skyward. A blessing, he declares, his voice firm. The hawk's flight feels like a sign, the sun's light flaring brighter, bathing the circle in warmth. Era's chant softens her eyes on the trilithon, where the light strikes true, marking the solstice with precision. You're caught in their reverence, the stones a silent witness to this ancient dance of sun and spirit. You think back to the plain's pulse, its earthy whispers guiding the builders to this moment. The dawn's glow deepens the ceremony's power, wrapping you like a cloak, and you settle into the grass, trusting this rite, Bran's eager offerings, Era's sacred song to unveil Stonehenge's purpose, one golden ray at a time. You're still within Stonehenge's sacred circle on Salisbury Plain, the chalky earth beneath your bare feet, now dusted with crushed herbs from the solstice ceremony, their thyme and yarrow scent rising with each step. The late morning sun, bathes the standing stones in a warm golden glow, their lichen-covered surfaces glinting as a gentle breeze rustles the grasslands, carrying the faint musk of wool and wood smoke from the villagers' nearby fires. You're clutching a flint hammer, its rough edge sharp in your palm as you stand beside a massive bluestone, ready to shape its surface with the same tools Stonehenge's builders used millennia ago. You're about to explore the craftsmanship that carved this monument, a testament to Neolithic skill and devotion. Can you feel the stone's ancient story under your hands? Mainstream history confirms that Stonehenge's builders, working between 3100 and 2000 BCE, used flint and antler tools to shape its sarsens and bluestones, with archaeological finds of such implements scattered across the site, evidencing their labor-intensive techniques. You're striking the bluestone now, the flint hammer chipping away slivers of rock, each strike a sharp echo as the villagers work beside you, their woolen tunics stained with chalk dust. Era's nearby, her bone necklace swaying as she smooths a stone with an antler. Pick her chant to the earth, a steady hum. The stone holds the sky's will. She says, her voice calm but firm. You're awestruck, picturing the effort, tribes shaping each block, their tools sparking with every blow. A rhythm as sacred as the solstice rite you joined. Here's the quirky tidbit. Some tales claim Stonehenge's builders marked stones with spirit grooves, shallow carvings meant to channel the earth's energy into the circle. Bran's etching one now, his flint knife scratching a faint spiral on the bluestone, muttering, "It keeps the spirits close." Historians still argue whether this was symbolic or practical. Could a groove hold the earth's power? But the stones have endured so. Maybe Bran's spiral carried a whisper of ancient belief. You're working alongside the villagers, the flint hammer heavy in your hand. It strikes, sending vibrations up your arm as chips of bluestone scatter like fallen stars. Shaping one stone took days. Flint hammers, antler picks, and endless patience, all guided by chants like Era's. Torin, his oak staff tapping the ground, watches Bran with a nod. "The stone's a song," he says, "and we're its singers." You try carving a line, but the flint slips, and Damon, his scarred arm flexing, chuckles. "Strike like that, and you'll chip the moon." His jest stings, but you smile, imagining your own clumsy efforts at a craft. The bluestone takes shape, its surface smoother, now a testament to the villagers' skill, their hands as precise as the solstice sun's arc you witnessed. Era's chant rises, her bone necklace clinking, urging the stone to accept its place in the circle. Bran, his knife glinting, adds a final groove, his nerves eased by the task. You're impressed, but also aching, your arms burn from the hammer's weight. Picture running your fingers over the stone's fresh edge. How does its cool smoothness feel? The sun climbs higher, its warmth a blessing on the labor, and you recall the stone raising its weight, a partner to this shaping. Torin's chanting now, a hymn of a builder who carved the sun's path, his voice weaving pride. "Sing it," he urges, and you hum your voice, a shy thread. Suddenly, a gust sweeps the plain dust, swirling around the stones, and a raven's caw echoes from a sarsen, its shadow flitting across your work. The villagers pause, Bran's knife hesitating, and Era's chant sharpens her necklace, a beacon, as she sprinkles yarrow on the stone. "The earth approves," she says, her voice steady. You're caught in their devotion. The bluestone, a testament to hands that shaped a mystery. The sun's glow deepens the circle's power, steadying, and you settle into the grass, trusting this craft, Bran's careful grooves, Era's sacred song, to unveil Stonehenge's purpose. One chiseled note at a time. You're still within Stonehenge's sacred circle on Salisbury Plain. The chalky earth beneath your bare feet, now scattered with stone chips from the bluestone, you helped shape their sharp scent, mingling with the fading time in the air. The midday sky, once bright, darkens swiftly as storm clouds roll in their bruised gray shapes, swallowing the sun, casting jagged shadows across the standing stones. You're gripping a flint hammer, its rough handle slick with sweat, as a fierce gale howls through the circle, whipping your woolen cloak and chilling your skin with a damp electric bite. You're about to brace against a storm during a solstice rite, the stones standing defiant as nature tests the villagers' faith. Can you withstand the tempest's fury? Mainstream history notes that Stonehenge, used from 3100 to 2000 BCE, likely hosted rituals year-round, with evidence of solstice gatherings suggesting its builders endured Britain's harsh weather, as inferred from wear patterns on the stones. You're in the midst of a rite now, the villagers' chants faltering as rain lashes the circle, their woolen tunics soaked, clinging to their bodies. Era leads the ceremony, her bone necklace swinging wildly, her hymn to the sun, now a plea to appease the storm, her voice straining against the wind's roar. You're half convinced you're in a bard's tale of sky god's wrath, heart-pounding as lightning cracks, illuminating the stones like giants in a frozen dance. Here's the quirky tidbit. Some legends claim Stonehenge's builders believed storms were the sky's voice, a test of their devotion, and offered chants to calm its rage. Bran's shouting one now, his flint knife clutched tight, his voice cracking as he calls to the sky. Hear us. Historians still argue whether this was ritual or survival. Could a chant tame a gale? But the stones have weathered millennia. So maybe Bran's plea held a spark of ancient power. You're bracing against the wind, the flint hammer slipping in your hand as rain pelts your face, the storm's howl drowning out the villagers' hymn. Era stands at the circle's heart, her arms raised, her bone necklace, a beacon as she chants louder, defying the tempest. Torin, his oak staff planted in the earth, joins her, his voice a deep rumble, urging the villagers to hold the circle. The stones endure, he shouts half joking, but the gale's ferocity silences laughter. You grab a wicker basket, sliding across the ground, your pulse racing. Picture pressing your hand to a sarsen. How does its rain-slicked surface feel? You're dizzy, but Era's resolve steadies you, her hymn a lifeline in the chaos. The villagers huddle closer, their chants a ragged thread against the storm. You among them, your voice lost in the wind, but joining their plea. Era's hymn crescendos her bone necklace, whipping in the gale as she scatters yarrow onto the earth, an offering to the sky. Bran, soaked and trembling, raises his flint knife, echoing her chant, his voice breaking but fierce. You're caught in their faith, the stones unmoving their ancient strength, a shield against the storm's fury, much like the blue stone you carved. Lightning strikes again closer, the air crackling, and you flinch, the villagers gasping as thunder shakes the ground, a reminder of the earth's power you felt long ago. Suddenly, a gust, stronger than the rest, tears through, toppling a wooden pole used in the rite, its crash drowned by the storm's roar. You grab the rail of a makeshift altar heart in your throat as the pole rolls toward a sarsen, threatening to topple a smaller stone. Era's chant sharpens her hand steady on Bran's shoulder, guiding him to brace the stone with his body, his knife glinting as he pushes back. The storm's peak passes, rain easing, and a faint sunray breaks through, touching the heelstone. Torin's hymn softens a prayer for mercy, and you think of the solstice light, its warmth now, a distant hope. The stones stand firm, the villagers' faith unbroken, and you settle into the grass, heart still racing, trusting their resilience. Bran's desperate chant, Era's sacred plea to carry you through Stonehenge's tempest, one defiant note at a time. You're still within Stonehenge's sacred circle on Salisbury Plain. The chalky earth beneath your bare feet. Now, muddy from the storm's rain, its gritty texture clinging to your souls as the dawn's faint light returns a pale gold, filtering through scattered clouds. The air's fresh, heavy with petrichor, and the lingering scent of yarrow. The standing stones glistening with raindrops, their lichen shimmering like tiny jewels. You're standing near a blue stone, watching as weary pilgrims in woolen tunics, their faces etched with hope, approach the circle, laying offerings of flint carvings and woven grass at the stone's bases. You're about to witness Stonehenge as a place of healing where ancient tribes sought the monument's magic to mend body and spirit. Can you feel the pilgrims' quiet faith? Mainstream history suggests that Stonehenge, used from 3100 to 2000 BCE, may have been a healing site, with archaeological finds of human remains showing signs of injury and disease, and blue stones believed to hold medicinal powers, as noted in studies of Neolithic burial practices. You're watching the pilgrims, Al. One woman with a limp, placing a flint bird at a sarson's base, her russet tunic damp as she whispers a prayer. Era, her bone necklace glinting in the dawn, kneels beside her, chanting a hymn to the earth's healing spirits, her voice a soothing balm. You're moved by the scene, the stones seeming to hum with the pilgrims' hopes, a sacred echo of the solstice rite you joined. Here's the quirky tidbit. Some legends claim Stonehenge's blue stones sang, when touched by the sick, a faint hum that promised recovery. Bran's testing it now, his flint knife tucked in his belt, pressing his hand to a blue stone as a pilgrim watches, murmuring it's warm. Historians still argue whether this was myth or placebo. Could a stone sing healing? But many traveled far to Stonehenge, so perhaps Bran's warmth held a spark of ancient belief. You're swaying with the breeze, the pilgrim's soft prayers blending with Era's chant, her bone necklace a steady rhythm as she rises, sprinkling yarrow over the offerings. The stones give strength, she tells the woman, who nods, her limp easing as she stands taller. You try touching the blue stone, feeling for its warmth, but it's a mystery, like a hymn half heard. Picture laying your own offering, a woven grass braid. How does its rough texture feel, Torin? His oak staff tapping watches Bran with a knowing smile. The earth heals the faithful, he says, half joking, but you sense the depth in his words. The villagers gather closer, their tunics catching the dawn's glow. Some offering flint fish, others placing polished stones, their faces a mix of hope and reverence. Bran inspired carves, a tiny hare with his knife, setting it beside the woman's bird, his hand steady despite the storm's echo. You're struck by the ritual's power, a connection to the earth and ancestors, much like the stone shaping you witnessed. The pilgrim's prayers rise a soft chorus, and you hum along, your voice, a shy thread feeling the circle's energy wrap around you, a healing balm for unseen wounds. Suddenly, a ray of sunlight breaks through, brighter, now touching the blue stone where the woman stands, and she gasps, tears in her eyes, as if the stone truly sings. The villagers murmur in awe, Era's chant swelling her bone necklace a beacon as she kneels again, offering more yarrow. Bran, his knife glinting, watches, wide-eyed, whispering it worked. Torin's staff points to the sun, his voice firm, the sky blesses us. You're caught in their faith. The stones a silent witness to this ancient hope, their healing legacy enduring. You think back to the solstice, light its warmth, now mirrored in the pilgrims' faces. The dawn brightens the circle's power, a gentle embrace, and you settle into the grass, trusting this ritual. Bran's eager offering Era's sacred song to unveil Stonehenge's purpose, one healing touch at a time. You're still within Stonehenge's sacred circle on Salisbury Plain. The chalky earth beneath your bare feet, now softened by the morning's dew, its gritty texture mingling with the lingering scent of yarrow from the healing rite you witnessed. The solstice sun climbs higher, bathing the standing stones in a warm golden glow, their lichen-covered surfaces shimmering as a gentle breeze sweeps the grasslands, carrying the faint musk of wool and wood smoke from the villagers' fires. You're standing near the central trilithon, watching Era the healer, her bone necklace glinting as she leads a solstice ceremony, her arms raised to the sun, guiding the villagers in a dance of reverence. You're about to join her, feeling the power of a Neolithic leader who binds her people to Stonehenge's ancient purpose. Can you feel the rhythm of her sacred dance? Mainstream history suggests that Stonehenge, active from 3100 to 2000 BCE, was a ceremonial hub with evidence of female leaders in Neolithic societies, such as priestess-like figures inferred from burial goods, possibly guiding rituals like those at Stonehenge. You're watching Era now, her woolen tunic dyed a deep indigo, swaying as she leads the villagers in a circular dance around the stones, her chant to the sun a steady pulse. She's the circle's heart, her voice clear. Step with the earth. Bran, his flint knife tucked in his belt, follows her lead, his steps hesitant but eager, mirroring the villagers' movements. You're awestruck, recalling your own fumbles with simple tasks, perhaps threading a needle, not leading a sacred rite. Here's the quirky tidbit. Some legends claim Stonehenge's healers wore sun cords, woven grass belts tied with flint beads to channel the sun's energy during ceremonies. Era's adjusting hers, now a faint bead glinting at her waist, as Bran watches, whispering, "Does it hold the light?" Historians still argue whether this was ritual or symbolism. Could a cord harness the sun? But Era's dance aligns with the solstice sunrise, so maybe her cord carries a spark of ancient magic. You're stepping into the dance, the villagers' rhythm guiding you, their tunics, a blur of ochre and teal as they circle the trilithon, their hands linked like the stones themselves. Era's bone necklace sways her chant, weaving the sun's journey with the earth's pulse, a harmony you felt when the plain whispered its secrets. The circle lives, she tells Bran, who stumbles but keeps pace, his knife glinting as he learns. You try matching their steps, but it's like dancing to a half-heard hymn. Picture holding Era's sun cord. How does its woven grass feel, Torrin? His oak staff tapping watches Bran with a nod. The sun leads and we follow, he says, half-joking, but you feel the rite's weight. The villagers dance, tightens their chant swelling as the sun's rays strike the heelstone, its light a golden thread through the circle. Era kneels, scattering yarrow from a wicker basket, her bone necklace a beacon as she offers thanks to the sky. Bran mimics her, placing a flint hair beside her yarrow, his hands steady despite his earlier nerves. You're struck by the ceremony's power, a connection to the ancestors, and the sun, much like the healing rite you saw. The villagers' voices rise, a chorus of devotion, and you hum along, your voice a shy thread, feeling the circle's energy bind you to their ancient faith. Suddenly, a gust sweeps through, stronger than before, stirring the grass and rattling the stones' silence, as if the sky itself joins the dance. The villagers falter, Bran nearly tripping, his flint knife slipping, and you grab his arm, steadying him as Era's chant sharpens, her sun cord glinting as she raises her arms higher. Hold the circle. She calls, her voice a beacon, and the villagers tighten their grip, their dance unbroken. Torin's staff points to the sun, his voice firm. The light endures. You're caught in their resilience. The stones, a steadfast witness to this solstice, write their purpose unfolding. You think back to the blue stone's warmth, its healing echo now mirrored in Era's dance. The sun climbs the circle's power, a steady embrace, and you settle into the grass, trusting this ritual. Bran's eager steps, Era's sacred lead to unveil Stonehenge's purpose one radiant turn at a time. You're no longer within Stonehenge's sacred circle on Salisbury Plain, but instead, you're walking through a nearby Neolithic village. The chalky earth beneath your bare feet now packed into a well-trodden path, its dusty surface scattered with flint flakes and the faint scent of wood smoke. The midday sun hangs high, casting a warm golden glow over thatched huts made of wattle and daub, their roofs bustling with villagers in woolen tunics, dyed ochre and teal, preparing a feast to celebrate the solstice. You're holding a wooden bowl of roasted barley, its nutty aroma mingling with the tang of roasting boar as you join the tribes who united to raise Stonehenge's mighty stones. You're about to dive into the communal bonds that fueled this monument's creation, a testament to shared purpose and celebration. Can you feel the warmth of their kinship? Mainstream history confirms that Stonehenge's construction, spanning 3100 to 2000 BCE, involved hundreds of Neolithic people, with evidence of large feasts at Durrington walls, pig bones, and pottery suggesting tribes gathered to feast and work together during solstice events. You're sitting on a woven grass mat now, the villagers passing bowls of barley and boar, their laughter ringing as children chase each other between huts. Era, her bone necklace glinting, oversees the feast, her chant to the earth, blessing the meal, her voice a steady hum. We build as one, she tells Bran, who's sharing a bowl with Damon, his flint knife tucked in his belt, his eyes bright with the feast's joy. You're struck by the unity, a living echo of the stone raising you witnessed tribes bound by more than labor. Here's the quirky tidbit. Some tales claim Stonehenge's builders sealed their unity with feast tokens, small flint carvings exchanged during meals to honor shared work. Bran's offering one now, a tiny boar carved with his knife, handing it to Damon with a shy grin, muttering, "For the stones." Historians still argue whether this was ritual or camaraderie. Could a flint bind a tribe? But the feasts fueled Stonehenge's rise, so maybe Bran's boar held a spark of ancient trust. You're savoring the barley, its warmth filling you, the villagers' chatter weaving with the crackle of the fire where a boar roasts on a wooden spit. Torin, his oak staff resting beside him, sits on a mat, telling a tale of a builder who hauled a sarsen after a feast, his voice blending with the villagers' songs. The stones rise with full bellies, he says, half joking, and Damon laughs, his scarred arm flexing as he tears a piece of boar. You try joining the song, but the words are a riddle, like a chant half remembered. Picture holding Bran's flint boar. How does its carved weight feel? The villagers' tunics catch the sun's glow, their hands passing bowls, their unity, a living circle, much like Stonehenge itself. The feast grows, lively. Women weaving grass mats, men carving flint tools, children tossing polished stones in a game, their shouts a joyful chorus. Era sprinkles yarrow over the fire, her bone necklace swaying her chant, blessing the tribes who hauled the stones, some from as far as Wales, where the blue stones were quarried. You're struck by the effort tribes traveling weeks to feast and build their bond, a testament to Stonehenge's pull, much like the solstice dance you joined. The villagers' laughter rises their voices, a shared hymn, and you hum along, your voice, a shy thread feeling the warmth of their kinship wrap around you. Suddenly, a horn sounds, a ram's horn, its deep note echoing across the village, and the villagers pause, turning toward the sound, Bran nearly dropping his bowl. Era stands, her chant cutting off her bone necklace still as she listens. Another tribe arrives, she calls, and the villagers cheer, rushing to greet the newcomers, their tunics a blur of color. Torrhen's staff points to the horizon, his voice firm. The stones call us all. You're caught in their joy, the village a living heartbeat of Stonehenge's creation, their unity enduring. You think back to the healing rite, its hope now mirrored in this feast. The sun shines brighter, the village's warmth a steady embrace, and you settle on the mat, trusting this gathering. Bran's eager gift, Era's sacred blessing, to unveil Stonehenge's purpose, one shared bite at a time. You're no longer in the Neolithic village near Stonehenge, but instead, you're standing on Salisbury Plain again, the chalky earth beneath your bare feet now cooler as the late afternoon sun dips low, casting long shadows from the standing stones that loom around you. The air carries a faint chill, scented with wild thyme and the musty tang of old parchment. A breeze rustling your woolen cloak as you watch the horizon, where medieval travelers pass their hooded cloaks a somber gray. You're clutching a woven grass mat, the memory of the village feast fading, replaced by a quiet sorrow as Stonehenge's purpose slips into shadow, dismissed by scribes and time. You're about to mourn the fading of its ancient meaning as medieval doubts buried its sacred story in skepticism. Can you feel the weight of a forgotten legacy? Mainstream history notes that by the Middle Ages, around the 12th century CE, Stonehenge's original purpose, whether ceremonial or astronomical, was largely forgotten, with chroniclers like Geoffrey of Monmouth attributing it to Merlin's magic, a myth that overshadowed Neolithic truths. You're picturing a medieval scribe now, his quill scratching on parchment in a distant monastery, dismissing Stonehenge as a pagan relic, its solstice alignments reduced to folklore. Healers like Era once revered were replaced by Christian priests, their chants to the sun silenced by hymns to new gods. You feel the stone's silence, as if they mourn the loss, their lichen-covered surfaces untouched by the feasts you witnessed. You wince, imagining trading Era's bone necklace for a monk's rosary. Not a fair exchange, is it? Here's the quirky tidbit. Some medieval tales claim Stonehenge's stones wept dew at dawn, a sign of their sorrow for forgotten rites preserved only in whispered village lore. Bran's descendant, a young villager named Elric, kneels by a sarsen, now his flint knife tracing a dewdrop, murmuring. They cry for the old ways. Historians still argue whether this was poetic or symbolic. Could stones mourn their past? But local stories kept a spark alive, so maybe Elric's dew held a tear of ancient truth. You're circling the stones, their weight a silent testament, the plain stretching empty, save for a lone raven circling above its caw, a mournful note. The old ways weren't just rituals, they were identity tying tribes to earth and sky, as you felt in the village's feast. Medieval scholars favored scripture-teaching psalms, not solstice songs, and churches rose where stone circles stood. You try humming Era's chant, but it feels fragile, like a thread snapping in the wind. Aelric's fingers pause his knife still, while a distant traveler, a monk in gray, passes without a glance, his steps heavy on the plain. Torrhen's wisdom, once a beacon, would be lost here, his oak staff replaced by a cross. The earth remembers you. Whisper half joking, but the stone's silence stings. The villagers who remain are quiet, their woolen tunics faded, some tending sheep. Where once they danced, their fires small and sparse. Aelric places a woven grass token, a hair-like brands at the sarsen's base, a quiet rebellion against forgetting. You're struck by the gesture, a faint echo of the solstice offerings, the healing rites you saw. The plane's hum is softer now, its pulse muted, and you kneel beside Elric, feeling the stone's cool surface, searching for its warmth. Picture holding his grass hair. How does its woven weight feel? A medieval horn sounds in the distance, signaling a traveler's departure. And you think of the tribe's unity, their shared feasts now a distant memory. Suddenly, a gust sweeps the plain colder, now stirring dust around the stones, and the raven lands atop a trilithon, its eyes glinting like a star. Aelric flinches, his knife slipping, but he whispers, "They see us still," as if the ancestors linger. The moment passes, but it cuts a glimpse of a world where Stonehenge's purpose dims to myth. You're caught in the ache yet. Aelric's token, the raven's gaze hold a flicker of hope. The sun dips lower, the stone's shadows lengthening, and you settle into the grass, trusting these whispers. Elric's quiet faith, the plain's enduring hum to keep Stonehenge's story alive. One fading note at a time. You're back on Salisbury Plain. The chalky earth beneath your bare feet, now warmed by a summer sun. Its golden light casting soft shadows from Stonehenge's ancient stones, their lichen-covered surfaces glinting with a timeless glow. The air's warm, scented with wild thyme and a faint hint of dust, a gentle breeze rustling your linen tunic, as the distant hum of modern voices, archaeologists, and scholars replaces the medieval silence you mourned. You're no longer in the past. You're joining today's seekers, unearthing Stonehenge's secrets with trowels and brushes, reviving its story from the earth's embrace. You're about to witness this modern rediscovery where ancient whispers rise again and the plain sings of its builder's truth. Can you feel the thrill of their quest? Mainstream history highlights modern archaeological efforts at Stonehenge, with significant digs since the 1920s, such as those by the Stonehenge Riverside Project in the 2000s, uncovering evidence of Neolithic settlements and confirming solstice alignments through radiocarbon dating of cremated remains. You're kneeling at a dig site now, a few paces from the stones, its grid of string and stakes marking a buried past as archaeologists in linen tunics, modern echoes of wool, brush away soil, revealing a flint tool. Era's descendant, a scholar named Mara, her bone necklace. A nod to the healer oversees the dig, her voice a steady hum as she notes a find, her notebook scratched with sketches. You grin, feeling the buzz of a summer symposium. This excavation, a bridge to the builder's world. Here's the quirky tidbit. Some modern archaeologists use soundstones replicas of Neolithic flints to test acoustic theories, believing Stonehenge's stones were placed to amplify ritual chants. A young digger, call her Lyra, echoing Bran, strikes one now. Her flint knife glinting, listening for a hum, murmuring. It echoes like Torrens hymns. Historians still argue whether this blends science or sentiment. Can a stone amplify a chant? But acoustic studies suggest the circle resonates, so maybe Lyra's flint echoes an ancient truth. You're brushing soil with a trowel, its wooden handle smooth in your hand. The earth yielding a shard of pottery, its ochre glaze catching the sun as Mara examines it, her bone necklace swaying. This dates the builders, she tells Lyra, who sketches the shard, her knife scratching a sun shape beside it, a habit Bran might have smiled at. You try listening for the stone's hum, pressing your ear to a sarsen, but it's a whisper like a half-forgotten chant. Picture holding Lyra's flint tool. How does its sharp edge feel? The archaeologists' murmurs weave with the breeze, their voices a new hymn to Stonehenge, much like the solstice rite you joined, but now with tools of science, not faith. The dig site hums with activity, scholars mapping a post hole, others sifting soil for bones, their linen tunics a modern echo of the villagers' wool. Mara kneels brushing a cremation urn, her chant-like notes tying the find to the healing rites you saw, where pilgrims sought Stonehenge's magic. It's healing of another kind, mending time's rift, as medieval scribes once buried its story. You think of Aelric's grass token, how it kept a spark alive. Now that sparks aflame, excavations uncover feasting pits, solstice markers, and the builders' lives, much like the village feast you shared. You chuckle, imagining a bard's jest. Miss a bone, and you'll dig in a hare's burrow. But here, it's discovery, not ritual. Suddenly a shout rises. A scholar uncovers a bluestone fragment, its surface etched with a faint spiral like Bran's spirit grooves. The team gathers Lyra's flint knife glinting as she helps her nerves eased by the find her sketch capturing the spiral's curve. You're caught in their excitement, the plane's pulse syncing with theirs as if the builders themselves cheer. The stones loom closer, their secrets unfolding, and you spot the heelstone, its solstice alignment, a thread to the past. This revival proves Stonehenge's story never faded, just slept in earth and memory. You think back to the Sarsens' rise, its weight now mirrored in these unearthed truths. The sun shines brighter, the dig site alive, and you settle into the grass, trusting this quest. Mara's steady notes, Lyra's eager sketch to unveil Stonehenge's purpose, one unearthed shard at a time. You're still on Salisbury Plain, the chalky earth beneath your bare feet, now dusted with the fine soil of the archaeological dig. Its gritty texture mingling with the scent of wild thyme as the twilight sky deepens into a soft indigo, streaked with the last hues of a summer sunset. The standing stones of Stonehenge loom nearby, their lichen-covered surfaces catching the fading light, while a gentle breeze rustles the grasslands, carrying the murmur of modern scholars debating under a canvas tent, their lanterns casting a warm glow. You're sitting on a woven grass mat, holding a flint tool unearthed earlier, its sharp edge cool in your palm as you ponder the enduring riddle of Stonehenge's purpose, calendar shrine, or something more. You're about to dive into the debates that have haunted scholars for centuries, where history and mystery dance like shadows on the plain. Can you unravel the enigma of this ancient circle? Mainstream history dates Stonehenge's construction from 3100 to 2000 BCE, with theories suggesting it served as a solar calendar, a ceremonial temple, or a healing site supported by evidence like solstice alignments and burial remains, yet no consensus exists. As debates continue into 2025, you're picturing the builders, now tribes, like those at the village, feast their hands hauling Sarsens under a solstice sun, aligning stones with the precision you saw in Era's dance. But what drove them? Some scholars like Mara argue it tracked the sun and stars, a calendar for planting, while others propose a shrine for ancestor worship, citing cremation urns. You lean against a Sarsen, its weight grounding you, and wonder how a circle of stones could hold so many truths. Picture tracing the stone's lichen with your finger. How does its ancient texture feel? Here's the quirky tidbit. Some Neolithic legends claim Stonehenge's stones moved at solstice, a trick of light believed to summon ancestral spirits, a tale whispered by modern villagers like Lyra. She's pointing at the heelstone now, her flint knife glinting as she sketches a sun path, murmuring, "They dance for the dead." Historians still argue whether this was myth or ritual illusion. Could stones seem to move, but the solstice alignment endures, so perhaps Lyra's tale holds a flicker of ancient awe. You're listening to the scholars, their voices, a soft debate under the tent. Mara noting the urns you saw unearthed, suggesting a spiritual role, while another cites the astronomical precision you witnessed at dawn. It's a calendar one, insists, pointing to a star chart, while another counters, it's a temple holding a replica of Bran's flint deer. You try piecing it together, but it's like weaving a cloak with half the threads missing. The stars above now visible seem to know Sirius, glinting the Pleiades, faint their arcs a silent map. Mara's bone necklace sways as she kneels, her chant-like notes echoing Era's hymns, tying the debate to the rites you felt. Torin's wisdom would find a home here, his oak staff tracing both sky and spirit. The debate grows, softer lanterns flickering as a scholar points to a bluestone, its spiral carving like Bran's spirit grooves, suggesting healing as pilgrims once believed. You recall the healing rite. The pilgrims' hope and wonder was Stonehenge, all these things at once. Suddenly, a shooting star streaks across the sky, its arc mirroring the solstice path, and the scholars pause. Lyra's knife still as she gasps, a sign. The villagers nearby murmur their woolen cloaks, catching the twilight glow as if the builders themselves whisper through the stars. Mara's voice cuts through. It's both and more. You're caught in the mystery. The plains hum, a quiet echo of its past, its purpose, a tapestry of sky, spirit, and healing. The twilight deepens the stone's shadows, merging with the night, and you settle into the grass, the debate lingering like the stars' fleeting glow. Was it a calendar for survival, a shrine for the dead, or a healer's sanctuary? The questions calendar temple healer blend into the plain's song, but the builder's intent, carried by Bran's offerings and Era's chants, shines through, guiding you to wonder. You think back to the dig's unearthed truths. They're fragments a partner to this riddle. The stars brighten the plain's embrace, a steady comfort, and you trust this quest. Mara's steady notes, Lyra's eager awe to unveil Stonehenge's purpose. One debated whisper at a time. You're still on Salisbury Plain, the chalky earth beneath your bare feet, now softened by the twilight's dew, its gritty texture mingling with the scent of wild thyme as the night sky deepens into a starlit indigo, wrapping Stonehenge's ancient stones in a celestial glow. The air's cool, carrying the faint musk of wool and wood smoke from the archaeologists' camp, their lanterns dimming as the scholars' debates fade into whispers. You're sitting on a woven grass mat near the central trilithon, the stone's lichen-covered surfaces catching starlight, their shadows a silent testament to millennia of mystery. You're not just resting. You're reflecting on Stonehenge's enduring enigma, its purpose and builders unveiled through this journey, their legacy etched in the plain's ancient embrace. Can you feel their story settling into your heart? Mainstream history celebrates Stonehenge as a Neolithic marvel built between 3100 and 2000 BCE. Its sarcens and bluestones a testament to tribes who aligned it with solstices, possibly as a calendar temple or healing site, with modern digs since the 1920s confirming its multifaceted role. You're gazing at the stones now, their weight, a mirror of the sarsen you helped raise, their alignment with the solstice sun you witnessed at dawn, a golden thread tying sky to earth. Stonehenge's legacy isn't just in its stones, but in the lives it shaped. Era's healing chants, Bran's flint offerings, Torin's celestial hymns, all weaving a tapestry of purpose that Mara and Lyra now unearth with trowels and star charts. You glance up, catching Sirius's steady glow. Its light a nod to the paths you've walked from ancient rites to modern debates. Here's the quirky tidbit. Some Wiltshire locals still leave star gifts, small flint tokens, at Stonehenge on solstice nights, believing they honor the builder's spirits, a tradition Lyra joined today, her flint knife carving a tiny hair. Historians still argue whether this echoes Neolithic rites or modern folklore. Does a flint call the past? But as you sit here on May 26, 2025, you're betting Lyra's hair like brands long ago ties the present to Stonehenge's timeless spirit, a thread unsevered by time. You're leaning against the trilithon, its cool surface grounding you, the plain, stretching quiet, save for a raven's distant caw, its echo, a whisper of the ancestors you felt in the solstice rite. This journey began on the windswept plain, its pulse guiding you to the stone's rise, their weight a testament to the builder's unity you saw in the village feast. You danced with Era at the solstice, her bone necklace a beacon, and braved a storm, the stones standing firm as her chant defied the gale. You carved a bluestone with Bran, felt its healing warmth with pilgrims, and unearthed its secrets with Mara, each moment right storm, or dig revealing Stonehenge's purpose, a circle of sky spirit and healing, a monument to community wonder and the search for meaning. Picture holding Lyra's flint hair. How does its carved weight anchor you? The archaeologists pack their tools, their voices a soft hum. Mara's bone necklace swaying as she sketches a final star path tying her work to Era's hymns. Lyra, her knife glinting, places her hair at the heelstone, her whisper a prayer for the builders echoing Bran's solstice offering. You're struck by the continuity, not just the stones, but the human spirit, daring to question, to build, to heal across millennia. Stonehenge teaches resilience like the villagers' storm-defying faith, curiosity like Bran's eager carvings, and connection like the tribe's shared feasts, a lesson as timeless as the plain itself. You think of your own life, the questions you've chased, the communities that hold you, and feel a kinship with these builders, their legacy, a reminder to seek wonder in the unknown. The night deepens, the stone's shadows merging with the dark, and you settle deeper into the grass. The plains hum, a gentle lullaby, its scent of time and earth, a soft blanket. The stars shine brighter. Sirius, the Pleiades, a shooting star. Their light, a celestial hymn, echoing the solstice dance, the healing rites, the debates under the tent. Let the plains embrace, cradle you, it's quiet, a promise of rest, the stones standing guard, as they have for millennia. Drift now, the world fading, your breath slowing with the night's sigh. Rest in this circle where history and mystery meet, and let Stonehenge's legacy carry you into sleep's embrace, a saga of wonder and light. Thank you truly for joining me through every emotion, every turn, every moment of this journey. It's been an adventure, and I'm grateful to share it with you. As we close this tale, I wish you a peaceful evening. May you have a restful night, deep sleep, and dreams filled with wonder and light. Rest well, you've earned it. And when you're ready for the next story, I'll be here waiting to journey with you again. Before you go, if you love this tale, please leave a like and share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear what moved you, surprised you, or lingers with you long after the story ends. Until we meet again, good night, and see you in the next adventure.